Hey guys, good evening. What's up? How are you doing? I, of course, am your host, Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver. It's good to see you all. It's good to be seen by you all. And I hope you're doing all right tonight. Got a couple of things on my mind. A couple of things I am all about positivity on this show. I'm all about positivity. I want to keep things positive. I want to talk about the things that we love, the things that we enjoy. And there's a couple of things. Hey, Praxis, good to see you, my friend. But there's something that came up literally like in the last 15 minutes that I found kind of troubling, and I have to talk about this. I have to address this. And this only really impacts me and a very small number of people, but it's a big part of my show's legacy, and I feel like I have to talk about this. Once upon a time, when the human malware struck us all, and I started doing this as, hello, Beth, how are you? But I started doing this. I started doing this as an outreach. I started doing this because I saw my friends, real life friends, people I know in real life who were in a bad place. We couldn't just hop in the car and go to our favorite gaming and comic shops, regardless of where you're at. All right. Regardless of what that is. You couldn't go to your friend's house and spend time gaming anymore. Because who's been tested? Who hasn't been tested? You know, we didn't know what things were going to be like. And so I started this channel to reach out to people. And I started the channel on Facebook because going live on Facebook was as easy as grabbing a mobile device and clicking go live. I already had a Facebook account. Now, we can argue the merits of Facebook. Greetings, Dungeon Minister. Greetings. Hello, Vincent. We can argue the merits of Facebook till we're blue in the mouth. I don't think there are many anymore. But it was my go-to. It was my go-to. And all of my original fans tuned in on Facebook. And there's a bunch of shows, you guys who follow me on YouTube, and maybe you came in as fans of the Discord, that you've never seen. They're not good. The early interviews are good, but just the general content is not very good because it was usually me and a bad webcam and bad lighting and bad sound and bad everything. Like as amateur hour as you might think this is, back in the Facebook start was a complete clown show. Thank you, Robert Phillips. But I've always stuck with it because I never wanted to, for the few people who don't want to come to YouTube, and let me be 100% clear. Politically, corporate politics, let me clarify on that. Politically, the structure of YouTube is just as bad, if not worse, than Facebook. I made a joke a few weeks ago about only rotating blade things that blow cool air by showing some on the wall, and YouTube struck that video. I had to explain a dad joke to a living human because their robot didn't understand it. So believe me, I'm not holding YouTube up as a paragon while casting down Facebook. There is no perfect solution. But this evening, I was informed by Facebook that my video on Dungeon Module A2 from a few weeks ago had received an automated copyright strike because of 1 second of music. I do not play music in my videos. And it said this was 14 minutes into the video. I do not play music in my videos. The only music you hear on my videos are by my friends, Rich and Jeremy at Bards of Greyhawk, who gifted me the wonderful piece of music that you guys hear. Summer Mountains. I love it. And I used 30 seconds of it for my opening credits. Bob Antone has gifted me a piece of music that I'm going to make a show outro with. But Facebook's robots decided that some sound in 90 minutes of video meant that the video should be struck. And so I submitted a request for them to check it. Well, that's just it, Awig. There was no song. There is no song. Unless they're talking about my soundtrack. Which this is, let me be clear. This album is not my soundtrack. This is an album by Bards of Greyhawk, who make the music that you guys hear in the opening credits. I claim no ownership over BG1. I just like to hold this up because it's a really cool looking CD, and you can see that there. It looks like a dungeon module. So I don't know why they did that. It might have been one of the ones I sang Dungeon Minister. You know how I sing whole songs beginning to end with full backing music? So I submitted to Facebook that they were wrong, and whatever their robot heard was not copyrighted music. Heaven and Hell Black Sabbath album, debatable. I should do my own choreography. I'll hire you as my choreographer, Dungeon Minister. I don't want to leave my Facebook friends. And I know there's a lot of people on Facebook who don't want to screw around with setting up an account on YouTube. But if Facebook is going to screw with me like that, if they're going to just mute my entire video because of 1 second of audio, my alternatives are keep seeing my videos get struck, or just link back to the YouTube page and say, I'm going live on YouTube tonight. Now, I won't just rage quit Facebook, although I probably should. I mostly don't post there anymore anyway. Because again, the reason I kept doing this was because there were people on Facebook who were saying, hey, I really appreciate you making these videos. So that came up today. So if you're watching on Facebook now or sometime later, you watch this video later tonight, you're watching this on Saturday or Sunday or a month from now, first of all, thank you so much. And second of all, I sincerely hope that somebody at Facebook will pull their head out of their ass and remove that copyright strike. Because a bunch of my videos sitting up there with no audio because they think pew is copyrightable music is a waste of my time. It requires extra effort for me to stream on YouTube and on Facebook, and I have a larger audience on YouTube. I don't want to leave my friends on Facebook, but friends on Facebook, you may have to click the link and come over here. Even if you decide, I'll watch your stream still, Bill, or I'll listen to your streams, but I won't sign up for YouTube account. I understand. I'll never not tell you on Facebook that I am live streaming, but I just don't know how tenable it's going to be to keep streaming on Facebook if that's what they're going to keep doing to me. So that is the end of the negative rant. That is it. That is the end of negativity for Friday night. So you folks can come all, but the people are like tuning out like, I don't want to hear Bill going off on a rant. I don't want that. I'm here for Tomb of Horrors. I get it. Greetings, Jehovah. Good to see you. I get it. So that's that. A couple of things. 8 days from now, I will be at Gods and Monsters Orlando for Free RPG Day, running 2 games for Free RPG Day. I will be running First Edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, The Princess in Yellow, a homebrew module of my own. And then after that, I will be running my homebrew Tales from the Loop module, or I just module adventure, Wheel in the Sky. So that's what I will be doing. Jay, I was just bitching about YouTube. About Facebook. Sorry, about Facebook. Gene from Inksplat Records. Hello from UK. First time catching the live show. Thank you, Gene. Greetings to all of our friends across the Atlantic. 2 peoples divided by a common language. It's good to see you, Gene. Inksplat Records. Gene, what kind of music can we hear on Inksplat Records? Tell us about that. The wheel, well, you'd have to be there, but I'll give you guys a summary. I'll give you a follow-up on the Monday following. I'll tell you all about it. So that is happening next Saturday, August 20th, which is not far away. I will be at QuestCon Orlando giving a panel talk. And then from there forward, I will be on Artist Alley hanging out with my good buddy, one of the founders of Original Dungeons and Dragons and the creator of the Mind Flayer, Mr. Tracy Lesh. Now, you want to talk about somebody who's an influencer. That term's been thrown around a lot, particularly over the last 10 days, and I'm sure I don't have to say why. 60s and 70s rare and obscure soul. I love it, Gene. I love it. So we get like some Al Green B-sides or some Martha and the Vandellas, stuff like that? I'm not making fun. I'm genuinely curious. I like that stuff. Don't let this fool you. I'm not just a metalhead. I mean, I'm a dude that can shift between John Denver and Slayer and Charlie Pride and Michael Jackson and KMFDM all on the same playlist. But anyway, so yes, Tracy Lesh. I will be hanging out with Tracy. He will be at QuestCon. Tracy's going to have books on demand. He's going to have autographed Funko Pops of the Mind Flayer. That's right. Gene, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued, and I would like to subscribe to your periodical, or at least visit your company. So Tracy and I are going to be hanging out. That's on the 20th, and I'm glad it brings me to talk about Tracy because, gosh darn it, again, to go back, influencer has been tossed around a lot over the last 10 days. And I know you guys know why. I don't have to have that discussion with you, right? Dungeon Minister listening to Nine Inch Nails. That worries me. Gene, that's awesome. I'm going to check that channel out. But Tracy Lesh, look, I don't want to get grim here. Guys, the number of people who helped create either the visual look for or the actual rules of the game that we love, that we come to this channel to celebrate, that number of people is dwindling, okay? 1974 and 75, even when some of these guys were teenagers, was a long time ago, and we can joke around and say it ain't the years, it's the miles. But nobody here isn't on exactly the same bus ride. Not me, not you, not them. So the people you should be paying, not you guys, I know you guys, it's just if somebody's randomly coming by. The people that you should be paying attention to when you hear D&D influencer, go talk to Tracy Lesh. Talk to Tracy Lesh about working for Gary Gygax, about walking into Gary Gygax's basement and getting not this OD&D set. That's pedestrian. You could buy that through the TSR catalog. About being handed a wood grain OD&D set that you could only get in that funky little shop, not on the corner, not on the main drag, but the one that Gary ran out of the house on William Street, okay? That's who you should be thinking of when you think D&D influencer. If by influencer you mean somebody who laid the foundations. You out there, you're playing 5th edition, you're not even looking in the rearview mirror at this stuff, and you're throwing mind flayers at your party. Well, guess what? The guy who created the mind flayers is a good friend of mine. And I don't say that to Alpha Nerd, anyone. I say that because he deserves the attention and applause that, quite frankly, is lavished on too many nobodies these days. You know, I see these navel gazers, these people who just popped up. Now, let me tell you something. There's room for everybody at the D&D table. All right? That's not what I'm talking about. But you can traffic with people who want to be famous for being famous. Or you can talk to the people who were there. You can talk to the people who hung out in the basements in Lake Geneva and the hobby shop. I told you guys on Wednesday about Tracy playing Dungeons and Dragons with Skip William and trying a method of getting an ancient red dragon away from a treasure hoard. You know, like formative years building the foundations of the game we love. Tracy Lesh is one of those people. And what he does and what he's been doing. I mean, when I went to Troll Lord Games when I went to Frog God Games, see, that's what the problem doing this live is sometimes. When I went to Frog God Games, and I said, I got a module I wrote with Gary Gygax. And they said, we want to publish it. And I said, I'll let you do that, but you got to include art by Tracy Lesh. Tracy, I created the Mind Flayer and the Roper Lesh. I did it for a reason. I did it for an important reason. And that reason was because Tracy's art is awesome. Even if you thought it was a little amateurish back in the day, it's awesome now. And what those guys did back in the day resonates through time. In 100 years, if people are playing Dungeons and Dragons and they're dealing with Mind Flayers, they will be playing against or with a critter that was invented by a guy who lives up the highway from me. And that's important. That is important. Not somebody who says, I'm famous because I'm important, and I'm important because I'm famous. So that's from my friend. That's some good, positive stuff about my friend Tracy. So if you're going to be in Orlando, in August, two things. First, wear an environment suit. Because if you're not from here, you will not survive August in Central Florida. But second, come to QuestCon. You can see me if you want to. You can come to the panel, because all I'm going to do is tell some of the stories that a lot of you guys here in the audience have heard before. But I insist. You don't have an option in this, by the way. Don't think, well, I'll go to QuestCon and I'll see Bill, but I'm not going to go see Tracy Lesh. You don't have an option. Go down Artist Alley and go see Tracy. I'll keep my eyes out. I'll know if you don't. Because I'll be hanging out with him. He has asked me to come and hang out with him. I don't do anything. I don't create. I write, but big deal. I write fantasy stereo instructions. Tracy's an artist. And if you don't think that writer and artist are on completely different levels, find an artist friend. I mean, a really talented artist friend, and say, you and me should create a comic book. I'm going to write it and you draw it, and watch their face just drop. They're different disciplines. And stay hydrated. See, my Florida peeps are in the audience, and they know what it's all about. Guys, we ain't kidding with this heat down here in Florida. You think, oh, I'm from Arizona. It gets 90 degrees out here. I can handle 90 degrees. Not this 90 degrees. There's Fahrenheit, there's Celsius, and then there's SA, Satan's hole. And we use the SA measurement for heat here in Florida. I mean, people are like, oh, you got a i7 4970K in your machine. Do you overclock? No, I'm in the least air-conditioned part of the house. If I overclocked my machine between, I don't know, late March and early December, I'd burn through motherboards, CPUs, and video cards and RAM like there was no tomorrow. Fahrenheit or Celsius? First one, then the other. Lord Corion's got it. Anyway, so that's, I just wanted to catch you guys up on events that are coming on. Free RPG Day on next Saturday. Not tomorrow, but the week after. A week after tomorrow, which I gotta get stuff ready for it. I have a week, and I need to get some things ready still. And August 20th, free RPG QuestCon Orlando panel. One-man panel. One manel? No. Nope. I shouldn't say that. I should not say that. And if you're wondering, I want to have Tracy on the show before QuestCon, but he is also getting ready for QuestCon. He's got like a ton of arts to get ready for QuestCon. He's like arranging his book, The Paladin, so he can get a bunch of copies pod to sign and have ready, and art prints and that sort of thing. But I want to have him on the show so he can talk about all the cool stuff. But he'll have print on demand copies of the Paladin there for sale, I think. I know he'll have art prints for sale. This that you guys have seen part of, this painting under my hand right here, that's right over there. He'll have prints of that. He'll have prints of the Boot Hill cover. He'll have the Roper and Mind Flayer dual picture from Supplement 2 Blackmore. So yeah, he'll have a ton of stuff for sale. I won't have anything for sale because I don't have anything to sell. So with that said, tonight we're going to take a further look at S1, The Tomb of Horrors. Now, if your Dungeon Master breaks this module out and you've never played it, you are in for a dark thrill ride. This is Disney The Haunted Mansion with saw blades. He did the Boot Hill cover. That is correct. The original Boot Hill digest size. That is his. So anyway, The Tomb of Horrors. I said we were going to look at that dreadful gargoyle, and we're going to do that because the gargoyle is important. Everything in this module is important. Gary didn't place anything in here just at random. Gary did not place anything in this module that does not have some potential specific function to other parts. It's kind of the photo negative of the D series. The D series are components, and what you as the Dungeon Master elect to do with them is entirely up to you. Luther Pendragon, greetings. We haven't gotten to S3 yet, Luther. We're still talking about S1. So you haven't missed anything. Luther's a big fan of S3, and we're going to cover the entire Specials series. No, the Tomb of Horrors is an intricate machine. The bad guy in Saw wishes he could come up with stuff as intricate as some of the Tomb of Horror stuff. And we're going to take a look at one. Everybody goes, oh, great green devil face. Sphere of Annihilation like hole in the wall. That's the one. And you're right and wrong. Did you wash your eyes out, Michael? PC Grinder is a machine, right? I guess. So let me go down. Let's take a look. First of all, getting to the gargoyle lair. Is a bit of a trick because you've got to find the secret door that leads to it. So let's open this up. Let me share screen. Whoop, there we go. Okay. Saw as in you made visual contact, or are you constructing this to cut them with a toothed tool? We'll see. We have talked about the Green Devil face. We haven't gotten to the Juggernaut yet. I like that, Lord Corion. This machine kills adventurers. All right. When any door leading to this room is open, it frees a mutated four-armed gargoyle from temporal stasis. This monster is huge, 64 hit points, 19 strength, and it's interesting that Gary feels necessary to note that it has a more than exceptional strength. Monstrosity that attacks 6 times around as a 12 hit dice creature. 2 to 8 times 4, 3 to 12, 1 to 6. And if any of the 2 clawing attacks, 2 to 8 times 4, hits, the creature will do an additional 7 points of rending damage to the opponent so struck. Around the creature's neck is a collar studded with huge gleaming gems. Blue quartz stones of 100 GP value, 10 gems total. Hidden in a secret compartment of the collar is a slip of parchment with the following written on it in magical runes, which requires read magic. Look low and high for gold to hear a tale untold. The archway at the end, and on your way you'll wend. And on your way you'll wend. Beneath the runes is the initial A. Use illustration 8 for this encounter. And of course, you guys know both the Dave Trampier and the Tracy Lesh illustrations of the gargoyle. Yeah, I love stuff like that, Lord Corion. Communism is the way forward. Posted from my iPhone. But I'm not going to do that. We're not going to get all political. Okay, so the gargoyle. And you're like, okay, Bill, it's got a hint. It's got some gems. What's so special about it? Let's hop over to the other side of the page and check this out. The 3-armed statue. You got the gems from the collar. Now let's look at the 3-armed statue. When players find this smallest room, they will immediately see what appears to be a broken 8-inch tall statue of a 4-armed gargoyle with a broken off 4th arm on the floor nearby. Excuse me, is that? That's 8-foot statue. I said 8-inch. 8-foot statue. With a broken off 4th arm on the floor nearby. No amount of fooling around with a broken arm will enable it to be replaced, and the statue will do nothing at all meanwhile. A close look at its open and outstretched hands, however, will detect that a large gem, a 100 gold piece blue quartz, one fits perfectly, will fit in a carved depression in each of the 3 remaining hands, while the broken one has no such concavity. If 3 large gems of any sort are placed within the hands, the stony digits will close and crush them to powder, dump the grains on the floor, and then return to their normal positions. If this is repeated twice more and 9 gems are so crushed, a 10th or more will cause the following triggering of a magic mouth spell to speak these words. So your party has to find this. They have to make the connection between 8 and 11. They have to think outside the box. And they'll get the following hint. Your sacrifice was not in vain. Look to the 4th to find your gain. As these words are spoken, an invisible gem of seeing will come into being in the palm of the broken off arm of the statue. The gem must be found, and the character so doing will need to wipe it free of a magical substance before it can be seen or used. Note that if the arm is carelessly moved, the gem will fall off and roll away. Detect invisibility or any other sort of searching except by careful feeling will be useless. Describe the gem, once wiped, clean and visible, as an oval diamond with 2 flat and polished sides, very clear, and about 1 inch in diameter by 1/4 inch thick. It will operate only 12 times and then shatter. So the link here, and I love how intricately they are linked. And this isn't the only place where stuff like this comes up, by the by. Let's see. The link here is that if you slay the gargoyle and take its necklace, you have 10 gems to put in the crushing hands of the gargoyle statue. But if you don't get the gem of seeing. Even if you do, if you're foolish with the broken off statue arm in that room, you could still lose the gem. Now, once when I was playing this, I had a party lose everything here. They cast Disintegrate at the gargoyle. They lost the necklace, as well as destroying the gargoyle. So they didn't have the gem of seeing. Now, the players may have a gem of seeing already, or they may have the spell True Seeing. But they don't have this one, and they don't have the little hints in paper. Now, if you're feeling generous as Dungeon Master, you may give a saving throw to every gem, the metal of the necklace, and the parchment. I did not. I elected not to. And the players, well, they had to do without. I had another group come through. They slew the gargoyle. They took the necklace. They went to the 3-armed statue. They put the gems in. It powdered them. They didn't see any other result. They screwed around with the arm and said, that didn't work. Let's leave. And then they went on through the dungeon. So there's just some of the interaction between different. I would hesitate to call that a trap. It's a monster encounter, to be sure. One of very few in the module. I gotta adjust my chair a little, guys. Hang on. Is it? No, I don't want to. There we go. There we go. That's it. All right. Okay. But there's more. There's more. There's so much more that interacts. We talked about the entry, the message on the floor, and so on. The Arch of Mist is another nasty one. One section of the path shown on the floor leads directly into this archway. If any character stands within 1 foot of the entranceway upon the path, the base stones will glow yellow on the left, orange on the right, and the keystone 7 feet above will glow blue. When this happens, show your players illustration number 5. Hi, Chris. Thanks for listening. Good to see you. There is a misty veil across the archway, and nothing will cause the vapors to clear, nor will any sort of magic allow sight into the area until the glowing stones are pressed in the proper sequence, yellow, blue, orange. If this sequence is pressed, the vapors disappear, and the path appears to go eastward. If the archway is entered when it is clouded, those characters doing so will be instantly teleported to Area 7, which we'll look at that. If it is passed through after pressing the glowing stones, those stepping on the path will be teleported to Area 11. Those who pass through off the path will be sent back to Area 3. So let's look at 7 and 11. So you get it. Are you getting it, what I'm saying? When everything in this module is linked tightly together. It is a machine. It is an insidious machine. And you as the dungeon master, it is incumbent on you as the dungeon master to run this module as insidiously as you can. Don't let up on players. If they're 10th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th level, they should have the chops to get through it. And I maintain that a well-equipped 6th to 7th level party can make it through this dungeon without any problems. Well, not equipped, well-experienced group of players. And inexperienced groups of players, you could give them 2 12th level characters each. They're not making it out of the entry hall alive. The Forsaken Prison. This miserable cubicle appears to have absolutely no means of egress, for there are no windows and no doors. Love the Haunted Mansion, man. And even a magical means of detection will not indicate any. There are 3 iron levers about 1 foot long on the south wall of the chamber. These levers will move horizontally or vertically, singly or in combination. Only the act of moving all 3 together upwards or downwards will have any result. Moving them straight up opens a small trapdoor in the center of the ceiling, 10 feet above. Pushing them simultaneously down opens the entire floor to a 100-foot deep pit with no exit. Damage from the fall is 10 to 100 hit points, and the floor will automatically return to a closed position in 1 turn, thus sealing any inside the pit there until another victim triggers the trap again. The ceiling route is a crawl space some 3 feet square. At the place it turns east, there's a plug in the ceiling which can be detected only with magical vision or means, or if a character has sense enough to test for secret doors by rapping. I'd make a rapping joke, but I would probably get copyright struck over on Facebook. Secret door detection will not be of avail here except as noted. Eventually, the small tunnel leads to a magical one-way door which opens in the pit side as shown, and players are back to square one. So that's the first archway. The first archway, I say? Yes, I say. Well, remember, because it can take us to Area 11. It will take us immediately over to the 3-armed statue. Or it can send us over to Area 3. The entrance to the Tomb of Horrors. Beatbox noise intensify. Yes. Now, as a DM, I find the Great Hall of Spheres, it's not my favoritist part. Okay, it's not my favoritist part of Tomb of Horrors, just because it's a lot of work, and the module's already a lot of work. But the Great Hall of Spheres, this area is similar to 3, for the floor is of inlaid tiles and the walls and ceiling are painted with figures of animals, strange signs and glyphs, which mean absolutely nothing, and humans and human-like creatures with spheres of different colors. These globes are two-dimensional, of course, and their significance and pattern are described below. As soon as a party arrives here, show them graphic number 10. From north to south, with the west wall being the first column and the east the second, the figures and spheres appear as follows. Gold held high over the head. And then it just, I'd be 30 minutes reading through this. But there are different exits and entrances into the room, and the party has to explore them. But we also have a magical archway. When the party examines this arch, give them illustration number 5 and inform them that the stones glow in these colors whenever any person comes within 3 feet of the pattern of the portal. Lower left, olive, keystone, russet, lower right, citron. No matter which stones are pressed in what order, the archway remains clouded and veiled with a haze. See, now Gary's screwing with them. Which nothing can enable the onlookers to see through. All living matter which goes through the arch will be teleported to number 3, while non-living matter is teleported simultaneously to 33, i.e. characters stepping through will appear at the start totally nude, while everything else with them will go to the crypt of the Demi-Lich. Cruel, but most entertaining for the DM. Totally nude. One brave character walks in and finds themselves back at the start of the Tomb of Horrors. And all the traipsing through to get back to their friends. And they're completely in the raw. Now, if the party has established a base camp outside the tomb, maybe they can go and put on secondary armor and equipment. But I'm guessing most players are probably not that forward-looking. So they're going to appear right back at the start naked. Now, my buddy Greg, I remember that happened to him, and he just had fun with it. He said, "Can I get back to the party?" Sure. He had to run a gauntlet of the magic missiles. There's this maze of doors where every time you go into a room, you get shot with a magic missile. And he made it through there alive. And he walks into the hall and people are like looking at him. He said, "I stride into the hall, tall and proud." All right, buddy. Is it Terminator rules? If I have the item covered in skin, will it come with? No. So there's another archway. Yeah. You walk out of the tomb after you go back to Area 3, walk up to one of your henchmen. "Your clothes, give them to me." Or alternately, "I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle." So we have the Chamber of the Three Chests. Of course, we have our animated magical skeleton. The Chapel of Evil. The Chapel of Evil. And in the chapel, we have 2 notable traps. First, Well, we have lots of traps in the, but we have the opalescent blue altar. This strange material glows with an inner light. A very faint evil can be detected 2 and 6 per round of detection. If the thing is touched by living matter, it will send a lightning bolt 40 feet long and 8 feet wide, shooting up the aisle. Base 40 hit points of damage. Save versus magic reduces the hit points to 20. After this bolt streaks forth, the altar turns a fiery blue-red, and if it is touched by any object, it will explode, doing a base 60 hit points to all creatures within a 30-foot radius. Saving throw reduces damage by 50%. So the altar's bad news. But guess what? Another archway. As already stated, the skeleton on the floor of the chapel room is outstretched and pointing to the arch. There's something you could use on a Sunday, Dungeon Minister. Show your players graphic number 5 and explain that none of the stones of the arch glow, but that the entranceway is filled with luminous orange vapors of an exciting hue. Let me tell you, we have the best vapors. Our vapors are great. Some of the vapors, I'm told, are not so good. These vivid orange mists cannot be penetrated by any sort of vision or magic. The skeleton, of course, misleads the party, for any character passing through the portal will enter a 10 by 10 room where their sex and alignment are reversed by a terrible curse. Although restoration of alignment and sex to original is difficult, the curse, once reversed, will not alter paladinhood, ranger status, etc. Re-entering the archway will restore original alignment, but 1 to 6 hit points of damage will be sustained in so doing. Going back a third time will reverse sex again, but the individual will be teleported as Arch 10. As Arch 10A does. Only a wish or alter reality spell will restore both alignment and sex. However, if alignment is restored by entering the orange portal, a removed curse will then restore the original sex. Okay. Prior to alignment restoration, no spells other than those stated will affect the cursed character. Thank you, Praxis. Thank you. Let me tell you, I have the best audience. Aren't they great? Give yourselves a hand, folks. Stand up. I see you, Praxis. I'm told some of them aren't so great. Some of them may cause problems. I don't know. China. All right, that's it. That's all the political. See, I'm an equal opportunity offender, guys. And of course, C, we have the Ring of Protection Destroyer. Ring of Protection Destroyer, you ask? Careful inspection here has a 4 in 6 chance of noticing a small slot with the letter O facially traced above it. Oh! Sorry, headphones users. There's like people with Raycons like clawing them out of their head. Like, why did he have to yell like that? This is a moving stone block described below. It cannot be magically detected, nor will it open by physical or magical means other than the method given in 15. And basically, it is perfect for a magic ring, and only such an item will actually trigger the mechanism, which causes a block to sink slowly into the floor so as to allow entry into the passage beyond the ring or any other object deposited in the slot. So if you're like, I bet that gem of seeing goes in here. Clink. No, nothing happens. What else? The poem mentioned a ring. Sink. The block lowers, and it destroys whatever's in it. The gate opens easily from the other side, and no special item is required to trigger its opening from that side. The corridor widens to 10 feet and turns southward, where steps lead down to a corridor west. The series of 3 doors in the corridor are easily opened on any roll of 6 in 6, 2 in 6, or 1 in 2, indicating that the door opener falls through the door as a door opens so easily, plunging into the pit. So you can plummet into the spiked pit, and the party will have standard chances of falling in when the characters leading the way step on the cover. By the time the third door and pit have been reached, they will certainly expect the pit and be likely to ignore it. This carelessness will prevent them from examining the pit from within, as a wooden door painted to look like stone will be observed 5 and 6. Immediately felt if a tactile investigation of the walls is made, it is most probable that the party will proceed to Area 16. And of course, here we have what I call the portal trap. I call it the portal trap not because portals are involved, but if you've ever played the Valve game Portal, first of all, if you haven't, you should. Imagine soloing the Tomb of Horrors and your DM sits there and makes nasty, sarcastic remarks at you the whole time. Just these passive, aggressive snipes at you. So basically, and this, like, honestly, at this juncture, we are to room 16 in the Tomb of Horrors. We are to room 16, and I gotta ask you something. Those of you players out there, not people who dungeon master constantly like me, you have to answer a question for us dungeon masters. And it is this. If you've gotten to room 16 in the Tomb of Horrors, you've suffered some losses, you've seen some women go through a portal and come back, lawful good women go through a portal and come back chaotic evil men. You've seen characters walk through an archway, disappear, and then come running back up to you 20 minutes later, completely naked. You've had some characters step into a portal and just never come back out because Great Green Devil phase. Why, oh why, players, would you fall for Area 16? The gate is heavily bound with iron bands, and there are several locks apparent. If a character listens with an ear to the door, he or she will hear far-off music and happy singing, obviously coming from somewhere beyond. At that point, turn around and walk away. This is the Tomb of Horrors, not the tomb of far-off music and happy singing. If you fall for this, you get what comes next. You get what you freaking deserve. The door radiates a dim magical aura, and no forcing or knock will open it. A disintegrate spell or physically chopping into pieces provide the only means to continue past it. Once the door is destroyed, the sounds of confusion and running away can be heard from the north. All music and singing has ceased. There is a faint glow, torchlight, northwards. The walls of the passage are smooth white alabaster, and the floor is very smooth, highly polished, smoked gray marble. The destruction of the door has triggered an audible glamour spell to produce the noise heard. The tunnel floor is a counterweighted beam. Its overbalance point is the third square from the door, and when one or more characters step there, the floor will begin to tilt downward from the north door, with the north end slowly sinking. At this moment, show your players graphic 16. Quickly state the floor is beginning to slant as explained above. Begin counting slowly, as per number 2 above, to 5. All characters still north of the doorway at the conclusion of the 5 count will fall and begin sliding downwards to the north at 10 feet per segment. When the 40-foot point is marked, each will take 1 to 6 hit points of heat damage, 2 to 12 at 50 feet, and thereafter they are plunged into a pit of flames and molten lava, which will absolutely snuff them out. Retreat from the area during the count is at the 1 foot equals 1 inch of base movement rate per count. Got some comments here. Go through these. So this module predicted the nightmare that is modern times, kinda. Luther Pendragon says, "Who dares disturb the rest of a Sararek? The Lich is not your friend." Portal, yes, Portal was a game called Narbacular Drop. You can download it and play it. It's still up on the class project page, which is still out there. Narbacular Drop. And they called it Narbacular Drop because they wanted a word that sounded like it meant something, but was nowhere else on the internet. But yeah, Narbacular Drop isn't actually very good. I'm glad Valve made them go through more, like tons more refinements. And Lord Corion says, they already weren't smart enough to say no thanks to a Tomb of Horrors bill. You got me. So that's like the end of Portal, when you go through the final thing and you're on a little thing, and GLaDOS is saying, well, it's been fun having you. You'll be missed. And you got to use a portal gun and shoot it over a walkway that's over the fire pit. And then you get into the back offices and she's like, turn around, go back. And so here we come to the back cover of the Tomb of Horrors. I don't mean we're done with it. We're not by a long shot. But take a look at this. And this, I swear to God, Vinny Notarbartolo, I love you to pieces, brother. I want to buy you a beer someday. That miniature is not a Sararek. A Sararek is a jeweled skull. People keep making a Sararek minis. Like there was one from was it Gale Force 9? Which I forgot to show. You know what? I'll show it to you later. I'm not going to show it to you tonight. Oh, thank you, Tunes. Thank you very much for the super chat, Tunes. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. I have the best D&D channel. Hey, thank you. Thank you. Just going to put that bad boy right up there. Tunes says, never stop being awesome. I have the best D&D channel on the interwebs. Little black heart. So anyway, yeah, look at this. Or no, it's on the cover. That's right. It's on the front cover. It's on the front cover. That's not a Sararek. Spoiler alert. That ain't him. And there have been so many minis based on that. That's not him. It's a fake. But it's good for nosy players. If you use it as a screen, they're like, oh, I bet that's going to be that a Sararek guy. No, it's not. Whoops. Oh, hey, there's 16. There's the party sliding to their doom. A la Portal. Luther. Lich, please. But that's a good one. Tracy has like a first person one that is equally terrifying in a different way. I gotta ask him one of these days if he ever hung around with the other artists. I think he said not, but we'll pester him about that again. Anyway, let us move back up. So we're around 16, yeah? So the false crypt. The false crypt. And Tunes, I'm gonna turn off the little super chat banner. I still appreciate it, but I just, there's text up on the screen, and I'm not sure how. You know what? Wait, no, I can zoom that in. I can zoom that in. Yeah, no. We're good. Okay. The steps down to the chamber at the end of the are filled with webs, which can only be removed by magical fire, burning hands, a flaming sword, etc. Any character trying to break through them will become hopelessly entangled and cannot get free unless magically burned free or wished out. Imagine wasting a wish on that. At the very foot of the stairway is a silver inlaid mace, which will begin to glow with a bright golden light when it is picked up by any character. Whenever this weapon is swung at the pseudo-lich, it will hit. The pseudo-crypt is filled with rotting and decayed furnishings, which were once most... what are you doing? I keep forgetting. For some reason, this doesn't like my scroll wheel. Once most costly, and a gold solid couch, 50,000 gold piece value. A lich-like figure with a crown on its head will be slowly rising and throwing up its hands. It's going to throw hands. In apparent fear if the mace is being carried. A booming voice, Luther got it. A booming voice from the hole of the chamber will demand, Who dares to disturb the rest of a Sararak? It is your death which you have found. After this announcement, you should show your players graphic 18. The purported lich is actually a magically prepared zombie with spells upon him which give him the following stats. AC -4, base move 12, hit points 32. One attacks around as a 6-hit die monster for 3 to 12 hit points of damage, and anti-magic charms will absorb 12 levels of spells cast before any will take effect. Any spell partially absorbed is spoiled. Between strikes, the zombie will gesture magically with its hands as if readying a spell. If it is struck by the golden mace, it will make a roaring bellow, magic mouth spell. And the weapon will obviously stagger it. Roll dice and shake your head. Love it. I love it. Between, let's see. The third time it is struck by the gold mace, the zombie will instantly wither and disappear in a puff of dust. The mace will shatter, and at this moment, the room will start to shake and stones will begin to come down from the ceiling. Obviously, the place is beginning to collapse, but take your time detailing the rumblings, tremors, grinding noises, falling hunks of ceiling, and so forth. And if the players inquire, they can see a jade coffer, the dead monster's fallen crown, and a fine leather bag, a giveaway, it isn't rotten, within easy reach. All other items are locked, etc. Now begin counting slowly to 10. And it is odds on that there will be a stampede up the stairs to get away. A programmed illusion from the pseudo-crypt will give the full effects of a cave-in, and actual dust will billow up the stairs while bits of stone will begin to fall in the east-west tunnel and then the north-south tunnel and stairs reached from the pit. If the party runs out, ask them if they thought it was too hard a dungeon. The jade coffer is worth 5,000 gold pieces and contains 6 healing potions. The crown is begemmed and worth 25,000 gold pieces. The small sack holds 278 platinum, 29 base 10 gold piece gems, a scroll of 7 magic user spells, pretend to roll, but they're all first and second level, and a map showing a location 700 miles away, which supposedly has a rich treasure. It is a fake, naturally. If this doesn't make them suspicious enough to take another run through to check things out, put the module away for use when you have a different group or the same ones inquiring about one of the key references in the legend. Note that something so simple as a commune spell will reveal that the Demi-Lich has not been destroyed. In any event, a Sararak will see to the righting of things eventually. The only treasure left in the pseudo-crypt is the gold couch. That's not a Sararak, guys. That's not a Sararak. Is that? Oh, I did. Didn't want to do that. Sorry. Raise this back up. So there's a lot of potentially good treasure here. 29 base GP gems, that's a lot of legwork for the DM to roll, but you could come up with millions of XP worth of gems there. Potentially. The 6 healing potions is nice, but it's not great. The Jade Coffer is okay. I mean, 7 first level magic user spells isn't terrible. The map is useless, of course. You know, that doesn't work for you. Exactly, Alan. The DM can pretend the module is over. Now, the players might think this is a little too cute by half and continue exploring. They might use True Seeing. They might use dig spells to dig through the room. But if the players flee, I mean, the module is kind of effectively over at that point. If your players elect to leave, yeah, I mean, it is over. It's not, you know, it's not pretending. It's just done. Michael Connor says, I would rather take my chances with a deck of many things. Oh, we're going to have a show just about the Domped one day. We've got to have a show about the deck of many things one day. So after that, we've got a laboratory and mummy preparation room. Which harkens back to Mike Carr's module In Search of the Unknown, in a way. Because if you're familiar with In Search of the Unknown, there's the pools. Some of them have treasure. Some of them have damaging acid. Some of them have a healing draft to them if you drink from the pools, but you can't take them out. A lot more oh fudge. I love this. A gray ochre jelly. Well, is it a gray ooze or is it an ochre jelly? Gary is in here. So you have 2 key parts. The keys are going to come when we talk more about this module. The keys are going to become very important because now we're getting into some very picky kind of, you've got to do things in exactly a right sequence. See, let me tell you something. The guy like the Roberta Williams over at Sierra Online and Steve Moretsky at Infocom, and of course, Crowther, I can't remember the gentleman's first name, but Mr. Crowther who invented, not Mr. Crowley, Mr. Crowther who invented Colossal Cave Adventure. They thought they had the whole nitpick thing down pat about modules and adventures. Gary invented it. Sorry, that's just how it is. So we're going to pause it there. We're going to stand fast in the laboratory and mommy preparation room. And we're going to wrap up the nightly stuff here because in just 15 minutes, we're going to be starting the Friday night Gamma World game. Lots going on in the ruined Earth of the distant future. So what I do want to do now, though, before we get down to the wire, down to the wire. The Cavern of Gold and Silver Mist. The description starts as a private joke. Yeah. Acerex got a hell of a sense of humor. Anyway, before we get on to Gamma World and I get distracted by something shiny, I want to take a minute and I want to thank some folks who help out with the show, which you can do too. If you want to make a material contribution to the show, we have both Patreon and Subscribestar. That's what scrolls across the bottom. Of course, you can super chat. You can do a tip. However you want to do that. But let's take a moment to acknowledge some folks who month to month do a thing. So thank you to Joshua Garlock, Lord Corion, Ricky Maru, Mobius, Kevin Reynolds, Doomsword Deathmaster, Mark Simpson, Damien247, James F. Keck, William Smith, the Dungeon Minister, pray for us, Padre. We've still got a ways to go through Tomb of Horrors, Manny Wall, Mark Corey, Kevin Wood, Todd Sharp, Carnivore Farmer with an increasingly frightening name, Rob knows I can't say that, Gillis, Jeremy Rule, Boganora, Mikey Mank, Sky Hernstrom, Pete Sullivan, and John David. I thank all of you guys for contributing to the show and donating. You help keep the lights on, literally and figuratively. So thank you all so very, very much. No, I got some more comments through here. Let's see. I don't know if that's directed at me. BX or BECMI is closer to OD&D. Okay, so it depends on what part you're talking about. But I would say of the two, it depends on your perspective, really. If you mean just the set, just the OD&D set, I would say my assessment, if we're talking about OD&D versus Basic Expert, it is strictly OD&D we're talking about. That is close to Basic Expert. However, Basic Expert includes a couple of Greyhawkisms, namely thieves and demi-humans being able to do thiefly stuff. OD&D with supplements is a bit closer to BECMI and the Rules Compendium because they have expanded classes. I believe the Monk and the Paladin are in the Rules Compendium or Rules Cyclopedia, whatever it is. I don't have a copy anymore. It was never my thing. I know it's some people's, and that's awesome. That's fine, but it's not my cup o' tea. It's not it's not the jam in my jelly donut. But at the end of the day, ultimately, original D&D with all supplements and all supplemental material, by which I include the strategic review and the dragon, is about 76.57 of the way to AD&D. You were going to look up for Stranger Things fans. I would tell them that OD&D by itself is closest to Basic Expert, the Tom Moldvay, Dave Cook version of D&D. That's what I would do. So there's my 2 cents. That's just my. So I gotta watch. If I have Italian fans and I'm over here doing this, they might think I'm being insulting, and I'm not. I'm itchy, scratchy, and sweating today. My chair is better than the other one was, which I finally have all those chairs out of here. There were some off in the corner over here, which you couldn't see them, but they were in my way. This door leads out to where my 3D printer is at. And now I can get to it much easier because the last 2 chairs, which were the chairs that I used to sit in when I would do the show, got in the way. So let's see now. Oh, I have massages. Sorry about that. Sometimes I get people message me and it's not here. I got to go there and I don't want to. Yeah, I did change position. The Hong Kong Action Star poster will go up on the wall over there. I mean, you guys won't be able to see it, but I'll still have it here in my office. The bigger change, I think, is, of course, that you guys no longer see the Tolkien thing. You can't see white box greater than Chow Yun Fat. You can no longer see the Tolkien mural. I took it down when I put this up because obviously it just being behind that would make no sense at all. But I may put it over on this wall. But a lot of stuff will have to change over here. But you guys still won't be able to see it. I may put it up. I may not. I may retire it. I won't throw it away. I'll keep it until someday /maybe I have an even bigger studio and can put it up. But I don't think that'll ever happen. I don't think I'll ever be in a position to have a bigger, better house/studio. You know, it's probably a house I'm going to die in. That's life. But could the mic arm squeaking chair be? I don't know. You know what? I think that's as valid a guess at what the problem is as anything else. I wonder if Facebook got back to me. Well, 22 of my friends on Facebook saw my post where I posted what I said when I started up the show tonight. So thank you. My Facebook fam, thank you. I appreciate it. Of course, now that page won't load, but what are you going to do? Let me see here. It's certainly it's a second. It's a second. It's 1 second of sound. How can anything? I don't know. I don't know. We're just waiting on a couple more people. We're waiting on Yang, and there's Barongo, and we are waiting, of course. Milo, Barongo, Gerg. And we're waiting on Doomsword and his character, and Yang Yan Zhao, and then we'll get going. And if they're not here by 5 after, we'll just roll on. It was the lyrical Gygax prose, too poetic to be mistaken for the social media gibbering the algorithm is useful to. I don't know. Do I speak good High Gygaxian? You guys would have to tell me. Perforce to listen to my ramblings upon this internetwork of linked computer devices, whereby I might impart to you the wisdom this humble game master has acquired over the years through careful study and considered play. Have to get more Dwemer craft in there. Dav, you don't like that? You didn't care for that, huh? Yeah, I like my Black Sabbath shirt. It shrank. And I mean, I'm a hefty guy as it is. So, yeah, this is more like Fat Sabbath. I'm going to run for political office. Thanks, I think. Yeah, we used to, when I used to post regularly over Knights and Knaves, we would, March was Speak Like Gary Gygax month. I'm reminded of an old computer joke, and I mean old, like going back to probably the late 70s or early 80s, if someone can date this. Now are the window? Well, no, I guess it would be mid 90s, because right off the bat it mentions what it does. Now are the windows of our disk contents made furious, made glorious sim earth by this furious Sun OS Zork. Sun OS Zork. When has being a big pile of chicken ever been a compliment? It's not, I guess. Let me see if I can find this. I want to make sure I've got it exactly right. We're almost there, but I got a minute to look this up. Let's see. Oh no, my God. Really, Google? Really? That is like one of the oldest funny things I remember seeing floating around Usenet, and Google doesn't know what that is. What Gamma World adventure? We are playing a homebrew Gamma World adventure tonight, Alan. It went pretty good this evening, Jack. We had a super chat. I talked positivity about my friend Tracy Lesh. Oh, Gygaxian Haiku. Wow, that's 575. Oh gosh, let me see. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. I got one for you. Gygax, Mad Dungeon, creator of many games. TOH is a killer. I think that does it correctly. 575. Am I sure it shrank? Yes, it did shrink. Yes. Okay, well, it looks like everybody is queued up in the green room, and we have 5, count them, 5 adventurers tonight ready to go to Gamma World. So let's not leave them hanging anymore. That's not a haiku. That's just me. And thank you again, Tunes. Yes, I played NetHack, I played Rogue, I played Angband, Moria, Telengard, Dungeon, D&D, all the Apshai games and modules, Sword of Fargoal, all the variants, Tunes. Thank you again for another super chat. So let us welcome Gerg, Barongo, Rex Dashington, Maddox, Milo. Good evening, gents. How are you?
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
How you doing?
So we do have a new player joining us tonight, of course, and that is Doomsword, who is in our Monday night, or I'm sorry, our Tuesday night AD&D romp. So welcome aboard. It's good to see you. So for those of you who might be new to watching the show, you're quite welcome, Tunes. For those of you who might be new watching the show, Tuesdays and Thursday nights, we get our game on. And we play just like it's supposed to be played. There are no do-overs. There are no scripts. There's barely any knowledge of the game systems. There is only there's only fun in the grim darkness of Gamma World. There is only fun. So let's get it on, gentlemen. When last we left our intrepid adventurers, you had found the town of New Hope in the wastelands, some many hundreds of kilometers distant from Goodwater and from the as yet unnamed by you guys base of the ancients, where you had established kind of a new base of operations for all of your friends from Outpost 76. You spent a couple of days at New Hope, and Maddox. What race is Maddox? Are you pure strain human?
Yes.
Okay. No mutants allowed. So Maddox, you had been wandering through the wasteland and had seen this strange air vehicle, air cart of the ancients land nearby. And at first you thought it was some kind of invasion of mutants because a bipedal furry raccoon-like creature immediately climbed out and started talking to some Orlan and some humans, but then some other humans, and indeed a human wearing a fully articulated suit of powered armor had also gotten out to speak to the Orlan. You had heard about New Hope as a possibly safe place to be. And now that you see these folk, you wonder if perhaps they might not be good acquaintances to have. And so you introduce yourself to the group. You spend a while with them there in New Hope in the evening and the day. They do some trading. They trade some destroyed robots. These must be very, very skilled folks, because they have this air vehicle. They have these destroyed robots that they just trade away. And you have 3 spears and plant fiber armor. So we'll just go ahead and say that you spend the day not only getting to know the town of New Hope, which is an Orlan/human settlement, but also getting to know your fellow adventurers. And if there's any particular quirks any of you players want to inform Maddox of, you may certainly do so in the interim, if it is something in the privacy of your sleeping quarters, which you are generously offered by the Orlans and the human there in New Hope. Humans, sorry, there in New Hope. There's more than one. It's not just one guy running around. But on this occasion, you have met the leader of the Orlan, or well, their head councilwoman. And she greets you and listens to your stories. How much do you tell her about your dealing with the creating the base and your discoveries and everything? How much information are you giving over to her? And she's not prying or anything, but
definitely
she's listening intently.
Telling her about working on the reactor.
Yes.
Let's just keep that to ourselves.
Yeah, probably don't want to talk too much about the robot we found down in the lower chambers either. We can talk about the security robots and such, but I wouldn't want to divulge anything about Betty, I believe is what we know. Do we tell her what all we do have available, or do we just kind of leave it vague? What do you guys think?
Vague-ish is probably better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's leave out the isotope rods.
Maybe they have some information on how to work on elevators.
Maybe. Oh, we should have tried to trade for an elevator.
Hey. Well.
Yeah, that
Well,
elevator.
maybe you guys can tell me what's going on.
We wrecked the place in our first trip down, and now we got to walk.
Yeah, I always wreck the place, and I always got to walk.
Yeah, well, I guess we're still having to figure your Maddox out, I believe, since he just kind of wandered up to us. But
yeah, I suppose he has a tendency to do that. Yeah,
His
he's
third eye the
guy.
wrong way. He's getting splattered.
He's just a bald guy with a scar on his face, a little bit of yellow hair in the form of a beard and mustache. Clad in plant fiber armor, and he looks like he's been out in the sun a little too long, maybe a bit crazy-eyed and whatnot. And he just carries some spears that he fashioned out in the wasteland.
Okay. Yeah, we'll still be cautious with you about telling you everything we have at our disposal, I suppose. But we will let you tag along, see what's going on.
Fair enough.
Maybe hook you up with some better weapons eventually.
Yeah. Maybe some better armor.
That would be a pleasure.
But until then, here, carry this.
Okay, so the councilwoman says, now, am I to understand correctly that you have an ancient vehicle of the air that travels along using ancient vehicle technology? Is that correct?
Yes.
We're riding dirty.
Which is key to our biosignatures only.
Of course. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I'm sure that Dr. Brainerd could probably explain it to me if I have any additional questions. Well, let me ask you something. Did you overfly any other settlements when you came here to New Hope?
Did we?
I can't remember that we did. You were describing things, and I can't remember if you said anything, maybe some small villages and such along the way, but nothing major.
I see. If you remember vaguely where they were,
You can, but they might not deposit for a week.
there's a kind of a cabinet next to where she's sitting there. She sort of flips through and brings out a large sheet of yellowed but still sturdy looking parchment and unfolds it, and it seems to indicate the lay of the land nearby. There are a few marks that seem to indicate villages. Are there any other than these that you saw?
Do we see any places there where we might have seen some along the way, or because I honestly can't remember. I can't remember you
Just got the
describing any.
photographic memory. We need this map.
No, you think maybe there's one or two, like out on the fringes of the map, further away from the big "you are here" spot on the center.
Okay.
As I'm looking at the map, do I see any like really big dots on the map?
No, none are larger than the others except for the one that indicates New Hope.
Well, I suppose we could take a boot around and take a look.
Yeah, that's true. Should we trust her with just telling her about the ones we did see that aren't on the map? I mean, I don't know exactly.
She's right there. Do you say that?
No. We're out of character here.
Well, I mean, you
Okay.
can't have an out of character conversation. You know.
I'm telepathically sharing that information, asking if we need to let her know. See,
Well, I don't know. I think she's trustworthy. You know, I think we could trade with them.
Okay.
I'll give Gerg the thumbs up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just here last week, so I don't really know.
She has a warm smile on both of her faces and says, "Thank you. I do hope that you find me trustworthy." She reaches up and taps the temple on the right side of her two heads and says, "Orlans are naturally telepathic. I promise I wasn't listening into a private conversation."
Okay. Okay. Yeah. We'll
just
go ahead.
smile shyly.
We'll let her know where the other villages were that we passed over.
Thank you so much. We're trying to build a larger community, and the more of the smaller communities that we can establish trade with, or if they're small enough that they need defense. Honestly, the world is so hostile. If we can convince them to incorporate here with New Hope, it's really better for all. And this will help us further that goal. Which, interestingly enough, does bring us to you. Are you the heads of Goodwater and whatever other communities that you're all from?
Well, Goodwater is that's Steve. Steve runs that community.
That and Outpost 76 is where he originally came from.
Yeah. But we're the elders, I guess, now of Goodwater now. Are we not the leaders?
Pretty much.
Absolutely.
As long as you have no follow-up questions, yes, we are absolutely the leaders of our villages.
And don't ask anybody else.
Anyone who says otherwise is lying.
That's right.
And we'd definitely be open for trade with you guys.
Say, you don't happen to have an elevator, do you?
Fator. I'm passively familiar with technology, but I cannot say as I know exactly what an elevator is. Is it small enough to be carried? Is it a what precisely is an elevator? You must enlighten me.
Big box.
Well, it's a large box that people use to ascend to a new floor or descend down below.
A lifting platform. We only have a few, and they're actually manually controlled to bring items up. Dr. Brainerd has one for emergency cases to get them up into the into the larger of the healing surgery rooms, and we have one near the mechanical graveyard where we're salvaging various pieces of technology. But I'm afraid we don't have one to spare, and I'm not entirely certain they would suit your needs.
We'll take a look later for the next round of trade.
Yes.
So she engages in you in conversation for quite some time.
Is Goodwater on our map?
Yes, it is. And she would very much like to discuss the possibilities of creating more than just a trading alliance, but a sort of a mutual joining of the two communities, even though you're probably 100 kilometers or so from Goodwater. She is fairly interested in uniting the communities. And what can you what could I do to convince you that this is a good idea, since you are the leaders of your own village, and you said it was someone called Steve was in charge at Goodwater?
Steve. Yes.
Steve, I see. My apologies. What precisely can I do to strengthen that bond between our two locations?
Well, I certainly think the start of trade is excellent, and perhaps you could send a delegation to visit Steve, and we could talk with him, or perhaps you'd like to come yourself to Goodwater.
I would love that. That would be wonderful. If it's acceptable, could a few of my advisors come with us?
It's fine with me.
I'm going to look at Gerg to see if he senses anything is awry. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to think of squirrels with really bendy thumbs.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try to detect if she's trying to be misleading in any way.
What is your let me see here. What would be appropriate?
I think it's a mental strength attack against her mental strength on the matrix there for mental attacks.
Okay. So it's only an attack insofar she doesn't know if you're trying to read to read her thoughts. So let's see. Mental strength. What is your mental strength?
17.
All right. So we have an opposed mental strength check here. Let's see. All right. Mental combat. Deet, 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 deet. Oh, I gotta watch that. I'll get struck. All right. So you got a 16, right?
17.
A 17. Okay. We'll get there. All right, so yeah, you're not picking up from either one of her minds any indication that she's trying to deceive or trick you or anything like that. Everything seems normal.
Okay, I'll just give him a thumbs up.
Okay.
Your tiny little thumb.
All right. Where is
Sure,
it?
they can come with us too. There's plenty of room.
Okay. Let's see. I'm sorry, 17. Okay. Yeah, the only thing you get from reading her mind is that she is exceptionally well-intentioned and she only wants what's best. And honestly, her vision of a unified coastal area there, of a coastal wasteland, it really is probably for the best.
Okay.
You're like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. One of those dancing Vaders on the strip that tourists get to. Oh, elevate. Okay. All right. So is there anything anyone in the town wishes to do? Or is there anything in the town you guys wish to do? I'm sorry.
I don't take a walk
with
around and see what they got going on here. Like, what do they got willing offered to trade? Like, what's their resources?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, as far as what they have going on, you think it must have been a really hard day's work. You spent most of the day. You didn't even realize it till you went outside because shifts must be ending because you see groups of humans here and there sitting on benches, sitting in the little cafe that's on the corner that you pass by, and a lot of them just look exhausted. They look really tired. The humans that are milling about with the Orlin, less so. But most people, when they see you approaching, they kind of perk up. You're the Outlanders with the vehicle of the ancients, aren't you?
That's us.
Fascinating.
Skyriders.
Skyriders. I like that. There's a rumor going around that there's to be a special lottery. One of us might get a chance to ride in your sky vehicle, but I don't know if there's any truth to that. Is that so?
I don't think
What's
we discussed
this?
that with anyone.
Oh, shucks. Oh, it was just a rumor.
I want in on that raffle. We get half the earnings.
I think it's just wishful thinking. Someone
The entry
probably
prices
looking
for going up only. Coming down is extra.
Copyrights.
Well, they can always panache.
Start up the rotors. And that's all we're going to say about that. Okay, so 3 proofs of personages to the radiated hovel down the street. Okay. So you guys have a few domars to spend. There are vendors. Is there anything you wish to buy? There's some odds and ends from ancient times, some very carefully wrapped in translucent paper-like substance. There's a vendor who has some crumbling remains of actual paper books from before the Great War. More than a few food vendors. There's a guy with a sandwich board ringing a bell periodically. Best lemonade in all the territories. Try the lemonade over at Lemonade Pete's. And he's pointing at a guy that's like 25 feet away at a stand. He's a 3-armed fellow who just face palms and keeps making lemonade. I wanted you to walk around town, not right in front. Thank you.
Rex will look for anything from Disney.
Disney. Let's see. All right. Well, let's see. Give me a percentile roll. Tell me what you get on a percentile roll.
All right. 81.
Yeah, you're not finding anything.
Then he will settle for a sandwich.
Gerg's definitely going to grab something to eat, but he's also going to check out some of the books at that one vendor, see what's available.
Okay.
What about laser batteries? I'm gonna look for batteries that look like the one my laser has.
Let's see. Let's have a gander. Gerg, there's a street vendor who's selling these little dumplings, for lack of a better term. He says, I just made up a fresh batch, my friend, and reaches down under his cart and doles you out a goodly amount, like 4 or 5 of them. And he accepts 1 Domar for those.
Okay, I'll give him a Domar.
All right.
Start chowing down as I go to look at peruse books.
Okay. So laser batteries, let's see. Let's take a look what kind of artifacts you might find here. Neutron surface to surface missile, anyone?
I mean, if they got one.
Does it have 100-mile range?
No, it's only got a 10-mile range.
Oh,
They didn't
damn
build it.
Just in case the city betrays us, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all silver. It's got an alpha on one fin and omega on the other.
You know.
There's a bunch of 8 men standing around it yelling, "Pull it down!"
Milo's gonna pull out this journal he's been holding on to. It's from some Orleans. We got it when we got the missile case and the with the box with the radioactive symbol. Any names I recognize in that thing? If I pass it over to it, show it to a villager and point out a name, does the villager recognize the name?
Okay. You were not here last week, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I believe, and party correct me if this isn't the case, but I believe the journal was already given over to the Orleans, or did you guys just show it to the Orleans?
I think we presented it, and they said that he didn't have any living family members or anything there. So I don't know if they took the stuff or if we kept it.
Okay. So, yes, some of them look at it and shake their heads. Some of them know who the Orlan was, but no one seems to have been related to him. Okay, so most of what they've got, you're looking at the books. They're from a variety of subject. The thing is, none of them are complete. All of them are missing a few pages on the front and back. Almost all of them are missing the covers. There are some that their covers seem to be made of a more rigid plasticine-like substance. but you don't find anything specific as far as information on that. There's just faintly faded lettering on the writing. And hello, little fellow. Are you looking for a good book, a good read?
I'll look to see if there's anything that has like a tech manual or anything like that. Kind of vibe about it.
That is specifically not there.
Okay. I tried to broadcast my thoughts to him about technology, tech manuals.
Yeah, so he looks a little startled. He's like, whoa, talking to me in the head there. Now, anything like that, the Orleans, they collect all of those up. Of course, as they should. They help keep the machines and such working. So we've got electricity and running water and so on. But no, I don't have any of those.
And I give him a thanks gesture and move on.
He smiles and waves. Okay, who was looking for a power device?
Bronco.
All right. Oops, let's see. That's not what I was. All right. Barongo. The only thing for sale that seems to be of truly high tech. I mean, there's a guy who's got he's like, I'm the springs guy. I sell springs. Do you need a spring friend? And he has boxes and boxes of different length springs. Some of them are as tiny as 2 grains of rice, one end to end with the other, and some as big around as a forearm. But all he has is springs. There's a guy who has these. They seem to be corroded bronze circles with shards of glass sticking up out of them. He's like, I'm not sure what these are, but I found them stuck in the ceiling of almost every building. They must have been worth something to the ancients. But there is a guy. He's got long, greasy hair. It's curly. He's sort of a short fellow, dour expression on his face. He's got a black, long sleeve tunic. He's leaning on a cart, and he's got an old sign from before the apocalypse over his, well, not his cart, but his shop there. He seems to be selling different bits of electronics. And if the name is anything to go by, this is Dio's Shack.
Can I speak to Ronnie, please?
Let's go into Dio Shack there and see what kind of toy cars and video games they have.
It's mostly lengths of wire, little tiny components that are utterly useless to anyone except the most corner case hobbyists. Although he does have behind the counter, and you remember, Gerg, you remember seeing these in Goodwater. Nobody here was alive during that time, but there is you recognize them as some kind of ancient vision devices. But they're like, one lens is cracked, they're dusty, the strap has obviously been reattached many times using adhesive cloth.
Does it appear to be salvageable, or maybe we could salvage parts off of it to repair something else?
You're not sure. There's actually a paper tag hanging from it on a piece of string that says, as is for parts.
I don't really have anything to sell. So,
He notices your interest in them and says, well, all right. If you want the night vision goggles, be aware they don't work very well. They just throw off a bunch of colors on your eyes. You just see rainbows in the dark.
Oh no.
and then nothing.
Okay.
I wonder if it also shows you lightning, but you know.
I'll hold up a couple of Domars and rub them together. Like, how much? How much you?
He turns the tag around, and it's 50 Domars.
I'll flash my little hands to say 30.
Let's see. And let's see how he reacts to that. What is Gerg's charisma? And it matters. It matters.
His charisma is actually 15. He's got a reaction adjustment of +2.
Wow. Okay.
-2, whichever way it goes.
So let's see. All right. He nods and says, well, I can see that you are whatever you are, of good judgment. So I'll take 35. I can't believe I gave you such a low price. Oh, what's becoming of me?
I'll go ahead and hand over 35.
All right. And he presents you with the probably not functional night vision goggles. And they are for humans, so on you they would sit like that.
Might be able to make
they still provide some shading for your eyes, but their actual electronic function is questionable.
Okay.
Despite the amount of ire I'm going to get, I say Domar Alarigato.
He looks at you, arches an eyebrow, and says, nobody talks like that anymore except folks out in the country. Are you from the sticks?
That's probably a close approximation, yes. But I show him my shield, the little yellow sign. I'm near this.
Ah, yes, I see, my friend. Well, is there anything else I can help you with?
Just a casual look around. Anything that resembles energy packs for rifles or pistols or anything?
No. Yeah, you get the feeling that you sign up for the battery of the decade club here. Because that's probably about as often as he gets working ancient electronics in this place.
Okay, I'm done here then.
Nothing left for me here. I'll turn around and walk out.
Okay.
It does seem like a nice village, though, eh, guys? Oh, I think we could.
Yeah, except for that guy.
Well, when we take over, we'll make new laws against him.
Sounds perfect.
You're right.
I like the place better already.
Yeah, if there's any food distribution or anything like that, just be sure to make sure he's the last in line.
The only thing that would be the icing on the cake is if a Yexel flew in and we knew they were buddies.
Okay, so Yeah, you spend the rest of the afternoon shopping montage. Night comes. There's not much nightlife. Let's see. Is anyone doing anything in the evening? Are you going back to your complimentary quarters that they've offered you? Are you going to sleep inside your space RV still, or what?
Well, I think I want to go back to the flying ship and rummage through it in the back there and get Maddox some plastic armor or something. I know we got a couple extra suits back there.
Okay.
That would be great.
There's probably an extra laser rifle back there somewhere too, but I don't know if we can trust him yet.
I'll throw spears for a while until you figure it out.
Just make sure he's in front of us.
Yeah, I think
That's
we'll
a good
sleep in the
idea.
car. It's just, it's not that we don't trust these people, but we don't trust these
It's air conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best they were doing was like fans of some kind to just stir the air. All right. Let's see. Let us see. I was rolling this D20, this white D20, forgetting it was a percentile D20, and I'm like, why am I not getting any scores above 9? Whoops. All right. Morning comes, and there is a I've started something terrible in the comments. Toons asks, will they get a good night's sleep or will they dream evil? So morning comes, and there is a wig. It is a 20 sider that repeats 10 sides on it. It goes 0 to 9 and 0 to 9. They're supposed to be inked like half red and half black, or half blue and half yellow, or something like that. But for some reason, the ones that they sent out with the Gary Con custom dice set from as part of swag a couple of years ago are all black. So they're kind of useless.
Well, you use a 6-sided with it, right?
I guess. Yeah, I mean that's certainly a way to do it. But anyway, so morning comes, and there's a delegation of 3 Orlans. There's the chief councilwoman and one of the Orlans that you had met earlier on, and a third whom you don't know. And they say, we if it suits you, we would like to visit the village of Goodwater, and perhaps your larger settlement that you had mentioned, Outpost 76, was it?
Yes. So just to let you know, we do have a few rules here in the Ancient Flying Vehicle. First of all, there is a restraining device which you must wear at all times when the vehicle is in operation. Please, if you will, no eating or drinking, and sometimes it can be a little scary. We insist that you use the restroom before we go. There will be no stopping.
Yeah, the 6 Orlan heads kind of exchange glances and then look at you, and of course. And you gotta show them that they figure out pretty quick. Orlans are quite brilliant and gifted with ancient technology, so it's like they're like buckling themselves, like, oh, I didn't know they went over your shoulders.
Oh, and did we mention the blindfolds?
And the mental neuralizers.
That's it. They psionically attacked a lot of you. Folks, next week we're going to start an OD&D game. We'll see you around. No, I'm kidding.
Roll 3 dice 6. Do that again.
All right, I step onto the tile. What does it do? Roll 3d6. What'd you get? An 11? That's not great. Roll 3d6 again. A 9. Ooh, that's rough. Did you get it again? 15? And the other person's like, damn it, I'm rolling up another character, aren't I?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, are you serious? Are you trying to insist they're blindfolded? Okay. Okay. They're kind of almost, I mean, you know, the Orlan are very pleasant, quiet, reserved folks, but when they're up in the earth, they're like, wow.
Giddy.
Yeah, we'll push the envelope a little too and go a little faster than we originally came here.
Okay.
Make them spill their coffee on themselves.
Well, fortunately, the air car, even with its somewhat diminished functionality because of age and neglect, does have fully operational alluvial dampers. So nobody is smeared out across the inside of the canopy when they stand up to move around the cabin.
What a marvelous contraption.
Can we turn that off?
You guys will be just as much paced as they are. So yeah, after I mean, if you're firewalling the throttle, are you going like all the way up to Mach 25?
No.
Okay.
Just like I said, maybe double the speed is what we use to get here. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's like less than an hour to get back to Goodwater.
Do we notice any extra villages on the way? I'm just keeping an eye out.
Just the ones you saw on the way in that you indicated on the map for.
All right.
And there's a clearing you can land the ship in. The people of Goodwater know it. They smile and wave. There's a couple of guards with weapons. Gurg, Milo, Barongo, Rex, and I'm not sure who this fellow is. He extends his hand to Maddox.
We're back.
And who are these folks?
Well, these are a delegation of Orlans from a nearby village settlement.
Yes.
Seem to have a very open-minded idea about banding together, and I don't know. We'll let them talk to Steve, and he usually has pretty good judgment. See what he has to say.
Okay. Steve comes out and he is greeted warmly by the Orlan. The Orlan are very, very curious.
To you too.
I'm sorry?
And a Coke to you too.
And a Coke to you too. Are you guys going to stay there? Are you going to do anything while you're in Goodwater? Remember, Goodwater is like 6 buildings in the middle of corn and wheat and other vegetable fields that extend for dozens of kilometers in every direction. So
I just want to hang out and listen in on the conversation.
okay. She is it immediately goes into sales pitch mode. The help that Goodwater provides this entire region through its agriculture cannot be easily measured. But as you saw with the attack by the Knights of Genetic Purity, you are in danger here. Don't you think it would be better if after this planting season, you and your villagers moved closer to New Hope we could clear an entire field and move tons of fertile earth, lay it down, and start anew there. I think that would be the best. And Steve kind of rubs his chin and he's, my D6s. No, ma'am. Nope. I don't agree with you. I don't think so. I think this here village is better off where it is. Oh, well, we got the big base. I'm sure the fellas must have told you about it. We got a whole base over yonder. Just a half a day's ride in one of the carts away. Why, with their air cart, they can get to us just like that, quicker than lightning, faster than a radiation pulse, and help us out. So I think we'll be staying right here. But you folks are mighty polite, and we sure would like to keep doing food trade with you. She speaks again and says, Steve, you don't understand. You're in danger here. You need protection. You say they can be here instantly, but you and I both know that isn't the case, don't you?
Oh, I look over at Gerg.
And I'm looking at her and Steve and trying to see what she's trying to do to him here.
All right. He
telekinetic or telepathic waves here.
He thinks for a second. I mean, she has all the Orlin are telepathic. There's an Orlin nearby. Some children have come out because they love seeing your air car, and they rarely get to see Orlin. So almost immediately he's playing I Can Guess What You're Thinking with the kids. It's a great game to them. So yeah, you're kind of picking up on a lot of telepathy activity going on with the Orlin. But Steve seems a little uncertain for a second, and he says, No, you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. I think we should do that. I'll talk to the other farmers, and I am sure that they will see clear to do that. Food production closer to your settlement is better for all.
Okay, I'll step between them and hold my little paws up and look at them. Like, wait a minute here. And I will ask her.
Yes, Kirk.
I'll ask her what she's trying to do here.
Look, Gerg, just what we had stated, to create a greater protectorate of humans and Orlin working together. I mean, a strong center that then builds outward to the fringes is infinitely better than a scattering of villages here and there. Awick says this sounds like Tau heresy. I mean, the Orlin are blue-skinned.
I told her that it sounded to me like Steve was set against doing it, and you seemed to threaten him with danger.
No, Gerg, no, I didn't threaten him with danger. A danger abounds.
Seeing Gerg stand up, Rex is going to stand up and he's going to keep his gun pointed to the ground, but it's going to be kind of in a ready state. And then he's going to think about dancing pigs.
Dancing pigs. No.
Well, she is not unmoved by Gerg's concern and says, Gerg, I understand. Believe me, I understand. And if there were a way that we could be in every settlement helping to protect them, I would much prefer that. I certainly don't want to displace anyone, but think of the ancient lands and the ancient nations, how much stronger they were when they were united and not scattered. We're trying to create something safer, not just for Orlan kind, but for humans and for mutants as well. You kind of pick up, I mean, there's no telepathic inflection in her mind at you, but you do notice that she said humans, mutants, and Orlan. Like, she's not thinking of Orlan as mutated humans, but you may do with that information what you like.
I just wave my little hands at her like, back off. I let her know that we need to talk with Steve more.
Of course, I understand, and I offer my deepest, sincerest apologies if I have breached your social ethics. I do sincerely apologize. And she steps some distance away and is in verbal conversation with the Orlan. I almost said Tal. Thank you, Awig. With the Orlan that you don't recognize.
So I ask her, this town, village, location is called Goodwater because of a reason. Is that water also available where you're hoping they're planting these crops?
Oh yes, we have. Or wait, no. Are you asking her? I'm sorry, you're asking
her. I'm asking her, not Steve. We know Steve has water because he's got.
Oh yeah, right. Oh well, yes. I mean, we have wells. The doctor actually found an ancient text that showed that you can burn wood to a fine dark ash and filter water through it, and it becomes pure. The charred coal takes the impurities from the water. It's quite amazing.
To irrigate like whole fields?
Well, yes. Yeah, I mean the purification systems run night and day. That's you only saw a fraction of what we've accomplished in New Hope.
Well, I don't know. I took a walk around. I didn't see anything too fancy.
Am I close enough to pick up on the conversation, or?
On the conversation between those two?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were conversating with Steve, because you're going to be over talking to him. Not, I mean, because she put a respectful distance. She didn't approach the air car. She's just standing with the other Orlan, now having a conversation with a couple of your fellow party members.
How far away are they from my position? Could I broadcast to and let our guy know that, hey, what about the people that we saw walking around? Who's doing all the work there? Who's doing all the actual filtration and building things? Is it the people that they have under their control, perhaps? Because everybody that we encountered looked tired, wore out, depressed.
You did see. It seemed like first of all, the ratio of Orlans to human is like maybe 100 to 1. Orlans, when it came to like technical stuff, the Orlans that you ran into seemed to be worth that. But Orlans are fascinated by ancient tech. They'll trade for ancient tech, that sort of thing. You did see some of them in the fields working right alongside with humans.
Okay. All right.
They weren't like riding horses with shotguns on their hips between rows of humans as they worked or anything like that. No, you did see Orlans getting their hands dirty, so to speak. It's just that there are very, very few Orlans compared to the humans
Damn
and
dirty apes.
and mutants, I should point out. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Damn dirty apes.
You maniacs! No, A-Wing. They did not have whips. Now I've got A-Wing convinced that this is Xenos heresy. He's over there in the comments. Sounds like Tau. But no, you know, the Orlans weren't just sitting back. Several of them were working, and hey, the doctor you met, he was a pure strain human, or outwardly appearing pure strain human. It's just, again, the humans and mutants and so on vastly outnumbered the Orlan.
Okay. I guess we still need to discuss things with Steve. Ask him if he felt like he was being, his mind was being probed or whatever.
Ask him what made him change his mind.
Yeah.
He says, well, the ladies, I'm never sure with Orlan. You refer to him as one or two. When I thought about it, they made a pretty convincing argument. You know, we are kind of out here in the middle of a wasteland.
Well, like you said, we're just right around the corner. You're not on your own out here.
Might I make a suggestion? You had mentioned that in the ancient lands, as I recall, they were spread out and the civilizations were fantastic. Perhaps what we really need to form is a popular form of government called confederacy, where each settlement will agree to come together for mutual defense and for mutual trade. Well, meanwhile, we, have a little separation. Therefore, we control more area. And together we can form patrols and kill evil plants and stop bad people and mutants.
I got mentions of slavery. I got this guy talking about confederacy. I'm just going to get demonetized. I'm just done. What is your charisma there, Rex Dashington?
It is 14, and I've got a +1 to react and a +1 to morale.
Okay. Let's see. What do she think of that? Rex, I feel as though there is wisdom in your words, but I cannot speak for all of the folk of New Hope. I will discuss this with the other syndics when we return. But perhaps this confederation that you propose would be more advantageous than trying to displace these folk and move them there.
I agree. And together, we can each have our own security teams, and we'll meet up regularly and come up with a plan for common defense. And in the summers, we can barbecue and have softball games.
After summer, just both of her faces just... I'm not sure what a softball game is, but it sounds
We'll
interesting.
have a big after harvest festival.
Now that is interesting.
Where all the communities come together, mutual respect, play games, do stuff.
Live music.
Competition, music, feasting.
Again, the other syndics and I will discuss this. Of course, you understand, and she kind of gestures to the farm area around. We have no sinister ulterior motives.
I know, but I pick up a handful of the black earth, and I'm just like, you can't get this everywhere.
Well, show us around your farming village, please. We become so steeped in our work in New Hope that we rarely have time to visit the folk who, quite honestly, are responsible, and she pats her stomach, are responsible for keeping us well fed. So she basically would like to walk around Goodwater and meet some of the farming folk, sample some of their wares.
I'd also like to check out the market.
Okay. They have apples, of course, which are delicious, and as you all know, apples are about this big and grow on very runty, low to the ground bushes. They're extremely tart, very hard, but delicious just the same. There's corn, there's wheat. Volcano God, irresponsibly checking in on the campaign from sunny Las Vegas. Volcano God, you can drop it in a slot machine or you can drop it in a super chat, but regardless, welcome. It's good to see you. We like VG around here. He's good people. I hope you're having a blast out there, my friend, in Sin City. Because, hey, what you do out there stays out there. Okay. So she'll have to mull this over back in New Hope, but you have a wonderful time introducing her around. One of the farmers just happened to have a loaf of fresh baked bread. It's very nice, very convivial. And if you guys are in the market for rakes or pitchforks or a bag of fertilizer or what have you, that is pretty much what they have for sale there in the town.
Good stuff, straight off of Old Man Miller's manure pile.
Yes.
I present Steve with the parts that we found that we traded for.
I'll get these to the junior technician, and he will be able to help us repair the old ground vehicle. Thank you. Thank you so much. So what are you guys up to?
Primarily keeping an eye on the Orland, making sure they're not trying to convince anybody else that we need to move over there.
Yeah.
I want to see if they let me back. And that was never mind.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that was in 76. I was going to see if they'd let me back into the Hall of the Ancients, but that's in a different town.
Oh yeah. That's they'll have to get that over there. Everyone seems more or less okay with the fact that the Orlan are not trying to, as far as you can tell, the Orlan are not trying to convince people individually. They went straight to Steve and kind of cut straight to the chase, but they're not browbeating anyone else about, hey, abandon your village, come with us. You know, kind of thing. It's the village of the damned, but in reverse. No, they're thoroughly pleasant. The people in the village just talk to them about agriculture. There's kind of a general exchange of ideas. It is much like Goodwater has been.
I guess other than speaking with Steve a little bit about the comings and goings of Goodwater since we were last here, just catching up on old times.
Okay.
I guess they're going to want to ride back tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they sort of they would like to discuss that amongst themselves.
All right, well, just hang out and then retire eventually.
Okay.
I'm going back to sleep in the air car.
All right. Well, the Orlan are offered. There is a spare room made for them in the bunkhouse, which they readily accept. There's a light farmer's meal cooked, you know, beans, rice, that sort of thing. Morning comes, and they're ready to go if you guys are.
Look towards the guys.
Ready whenever everybody else is.
All right.
Somebody mentioned an extra suit of armor.
Yeah, I already gave you that plastic armor.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem, man. Just stand in front of me.
Yeah, I prefer to be behind with my spear.
He can stand behind Rex Dashington. I mean, he's basically walking around with an upright Volkswagen wrapped around him.
And that sounds like a plan.
All right.
Rex will make sure everything is sealed tight.
Yeah, you don't want to get Maddox splashed all over you and it seep into the seals. Okay, so without further ado, you return the Orlan. Do you stay in the town? They say you're more than welcome to stay and enjoy the town's hospitality. If you have any questions, if there's anything further you would care to do, please, by all means.
I wouldn't mind going around and checking with the people, just to be certain, 100% certain that they're not here doing this stuff against their will.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's the middle of the day. It's hot. There are some people working, some are not. Yeah, some people are very enthusiastic. How many people are you going to ask? Let me ask you that. First guy's like, it's a living. I mean, I'm not here against my will, if that's what you mean. Second guy's like, against my will? Are you kidding? My family and I lived where we thought was safe in a big round stone thing under a roadway of the ancients, and we had to fight off horrible monsters, and I had to burn back those weeds that they stick their seeds up inside you, but they can do it from a long way off.
Oh,
No, this is so much better. We go to bed every night with a full belly, and we wake up every morning in a safe town.
We'll ask a dozen or so just to be safe.
Okay. Yeah, next guy is like, yeah, it beats the alternative. there is a pair of orangutan-like folks ambling along, doing some shopping, with a young that seems to be content to swing between mom and dad. And he says, yes, well, it's a rather better than living out in the wilderness, don't you think? And she's like, quite. Thomas, behave yourself. Yeah, next guy you meet again is just like, what do you want me to say? I mean, do you give it out free samples or something? I gotta go to work. Got an irrigation ditch that's not going to repair itself. One guy is like, hey, you guys are from like Goodwater, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, man, I bust my hump to dig through rusty piles of metal for a living. I'm a man of the earth. I would really like to go back to being a farmer, but they got enough people farming. You think I can hitch a ride back to Goodwater with you?
What do you think, guys?
I'm not super crazy about it.
There's never
Sure.
enough people farming.
But just to warn you, we do use manure as fertilizer.
Yeah, that's what you should use. The hell else would you use?
All right. Just wanted to make sure you knew you were trading rust for poop.
Bubbles' parents. Yeah, and the last well, you're not really sure. It's kind of low to the ground, six-legged lizard type individual. Propels itself with four limbs on the ground and has two stubby ones, and it's holding a box, and it's like, I am perfectly fine here.
Okay.
All my needs are seen to. If you will excuse me. And scuttles down the street.
Well, things seem a little bit kosher here now, a little more kosher than previously thought. But back of Gerg's mind, he's still kind of concerned about what these guys are really up to. But if everybody else wants to go along and try to move closer to New Hope, we can.
What the hell else are we gonna do?
Exactly. Sorry, that was DM. I shouldn't act on that.
This place seems fun and all, but it seems a little bit boring, particularly if you ain't got any money.
I'm sorry. Did one of the players say they were bored? Let me check that random wilderness encounters table.
I'm behind the robot.
Attack from the rear.
It's the slee stack we just left.
It's the centaur slee stack. Alrighty, so other than your hitchhiker, is there anything else you guys wish to pick up in the village?
I'm good.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, unless Steve asked for some farming implements or something.
He did not.
We got plenty of water and whatnot.
I mean, in the craft and so on, just like in canteens to drink.
Sure.
or back at the farm. The farm has wells.
Right. But if we're going to be traveling, we got water.
It'll take us 20 minutes to get to good water. You can wait.
All right. We're wandering the wasteland for months. This damn thirsty work. You catch my drift.
It's called good water for a reason. It's way better than this shitty stuff you get around here.
Sounds great.
All the vitamins and minerals filtered out with that weird charcoal stuff.
You need a good chunky water that's eats like a meal.
Damn,
Yeah,
those
their,
omegas add some protein.
their stuff probably doesn't even glow. Come on.
Okay, so end of the day comes, and your friend, your new your passenger is like, yeah, hey, look, I realize nobody rides for free, right? I got 8 Domars, and they're supposed to pay us at the end of the send day, but this is all I got. Is this enough, at least for a one-way ride?
I'll hang on to it for you.
Not nearly, but sure.
Okay, well, I do my best. He hands it over.
Do you
And
guys always get paid?
oh yeah, the scrap picker I work for pays us. Yeah.
What about the farmers?
Oh, it depends. It depends on who's doing the farming and what they're selling. I mean, it's they just, some people have businesses and they pay the people that work for them.
Okay. Well, sit down, kick up your feet. Don't put it on the dash.
All right. Right about then, you see an Orlin approaching. He is the Orlin that you first met when you first landed in New Hope. Well, I see that you're leaving. I've come to see you off. Harlan, are you going with these folk? And he pauses for a second and says, come to think of it now, do you think you could get me a job on one of the farms, or maybe talk to my boss over at the mech picking plant to give me a day to walk over and talk to the farmers and see maybe if I can get in over there? He says, yes, of course. I didn't realize you were dissatisfied with your employment and were planning on leaving. He says, well, no, now that I think about it, nah, if you can get me a job on a farm here, I'll stay here. Well, I have to say, a trip in the air chariot of the ancients is not to be missed, but it's entirely up to you. You make the decision. He said, no, I'll stay. Hey, fella, can I get my 8 Domars back?
Oh, no.
What 8 Domars?
Oh, come on, man. Don't be like that. Give me my money back.
Right, here
Did I
you go.
detect any telepathic vibes going on in that conversation?
Let me see here. So your mental strength.
17.
17. Okay. Roll a d20 for me.
Ooh, a big 7.
You got a 7 total?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing you could pick up.
Bend over and touch Gerg's forehead and be like, "Are you sick?" Ouch.
I'll kind of growl a little bit as I stare at the Orland.
Yeah, they're walking away, conversating. It's like, yeah, just picking through scrap metal. I mean, I had a farmstead before I moved to town, and I'd like things. Then you just talk to your employer. I mean, Grog is a fine fellow. Just remember which end you have to talk to when you talk to him. And they're sort of just walking back into town.
Okay, well, guess we can't help him. So, what do you guys think? What do we need to do here?
Well, we need to leave.
Yeah, we're definitely getting out of there.
Take
And
our
maybe-
car.
Yeah.
Maybe talk. Maybe Steve knows something, right? Because his attitude changed,
Possibly.
and maybe he doesn't have that same attitude right now, right?
Now that he's out of their influence, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's worth a shot, right?
Probably be a great idea.
Okay. So you fly off into the sunset back towards. Are you going on exploring? Or are you heading back to Goodwater?
Back to Goodwater. We got to
Back to Goodwater. Okay. So I'm going to give some XP as we wrap up that chapter. Very little combat, no stuff discovered. So, but there can still be XP rewards. I thought you guys role played pretty well. Let's see.
Yeah, we only brought the enemy into our own midst.
So I tell you what, 1,000 experience points for all. How about that?
That'll work.
1,000?
Woohoo!
1,000 XP. Does that bump anybody up to a bonus?
No.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Before we start next Friday, because you guys actually did do some combat, I do need to hand out some XP. And for our newer player, Doomsword, I did get your character. Let me see here.
Yeah, he's got plastic armor now, so I can send him again if you want.
Alrighty. Yeah, you can go ahead and send an updated one. But just a quick note. So your constitution is 17, which is really good.
Yeah, I used those pure strain human rules from what GW2 or whatever. I think that's what you said to use, right? Where you added all four dice.
Yes. Yeah. So you actually have the 5 hit points. No, you have far more than that. Hit points are.
I don't know.
Yeah, hit points are calculated. Let me see here.
Con times 6, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it's I believe it is. Let's find out together.
Yeah, that thing was saying 8 hit points per die, so I just rolled an 8-sided, but I guess that's not what I did.
Good. Hit points is in the manual 77 times. Sometimes having a searchable PDF is not the best thing in the world.
My PDF doesn't search.
Doe. If someone knows what that is off the top of their head.
I do believe it was D8 for pure strain humans in that other.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Yeah, in that supplement.
Right, but I think you've got more than one hit die, I guess is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, it goes off of your constitution.
Constitution,
You
so
roll
it's 13 times. Or mine, mine's 13.
Yeah, you roll the D how many ever times it is your constitution is. Like
yeah, so you have 17 D8 hit points.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll roll those offline and
makes fighting that 20 hit dice fire breathing beetle a little bit more tenable.
yeah.
The one that I think it breathes out, like it can do up to 120 points of damage with its breath weapon attack. All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap there. I'd like to thank everyone in the audience for shouting "Purge the Xenos" and that they are Tau heretics. Volcano God, have an absolute blast out there in Vegas. Stay safe, my friend. Let's see, and who was that? Tunes, I want to thank you for the 2 super chats. That was mighty nice of you. We really appreciate that, Tunes. And I will be back. Thank you, Bob. I love the new setup back there too. I'm quite fond of it. For those of you who are interested, we do this every Friday night. We play Advanced Dungeons & Dragons First Edition live stream on Tuesday nights, and I run my mouth almost every night of the week. You can't stop me, much to the dismay of everyone involved. Tomorrow night, tomorrow afternoon, Yang Yanzhao, myself, and the Dungeon Minister, by our powers combined, will be forming the Nerd Council of Doom, wherein we will discuss several important matters of the day. That's over on Yang's channel, by the way. Yang Yanzhao. If you're not subscribed to his channel, do that. If you're not subscribed to the Dungeon Minister's channel, do that also. But we'll be over there tomorrow, not talking about Dungeons and Dragons and Gamma World, but just pop culture news you can abuse. So thank you, everyone, for stopping by. Thank you to my players. Thank you guys for listening to me rant a little bit about my trials and travails with Facebook. We'll see you guys on Monday. Peace out.